I can't put my head in the sand anymore. The burden of knowledge. You're wrecking my diet as we speak.
Today, I'm at Prospect Park interviewing people about the ones who walk away from Omelas. You may have heard this story in Cosmic Skeptics, a meat eater's case for veganism.
In the story, Omelas is the perfect city of pleasure, a kind of utopia in which everyone is joyful and free of pain. But there's a child, a deformed child who's suffering, neglected and starving and in immense pain in a broom cupboard beneath the buildings of the city. And through some technology that's not quite explained, it's this child's immense suffering that sustains the pleasures of Omelas. People sometimes visit the child out of pity or just morbid curiosity, but they're not allowed to show him affection or offer help. Some people, after seeing what it is that's happening in that broom cupboard, simply and quietly pack their bags and leave the city.
What are your first kind of thoughts on that story?
Jungian. If one avoids the shadow will end up ruling.
I mean, that's a lot. I mean, are we willing to put all of our burdens onto one for the benefit of many? And so, I mean, I think that's kind of, pretty deep considering where we are at and today in our history and everything that's going on right now. I think I'd probably be one of the people that would pack up and walk away.
I was just thinking the whole time, what a parallel to what's actually happening, right? I think it's actually a diving deep into society's complacency with maybe it's fetishization of money or at all costs.
You kind of touched on a bit of the ways that you see this in modern society. Are there any other ways where you feel like people ignore the suffering of others to benefit from it?
I mean, I think it's really easy to stick our heads in the sand as society. If something doesn't hit close to home and you are not as, passionate about issues until they do come to our doorsteps. And then that's when we're willing to fight, stand up and want to start fighting or speaking out or doing something about it. But by sitting back and being complacent for so long, we're allowing it to show up at our doorstep.
I was going to ask, since you have your dog here, what if instead of there being a little girl, if there were a dog in that situation, do you think it would still be bad?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what, more evolved people are, they're all about PETA and, let's not wear fur and let's go vegetarian and let's take care of the earth. I mean, really, if you look at it in terms of a toxic masculinity that has gone amok, it's more about caring for all species.
Any sort of suffering, whether it's on an animal or a child or a fellow mammal, no, I'm not okay with that. I'm also a vegetarian. So.
Oh, shit. Okay. That's kind of where I was going with this. Yeah, that's a really good point, especially the part about masculinity, and people think that meat is manly, and then there's also kind of the hijacking of the female reproductive system within the animals, like dairy. Did you know they're forcibly impregnated, the cows, and then when they have the baby's taken away. So it's kind of just hijacking that reproductive system. Do you think that's bad too?
I didn't even know that happened. It's a shame to be this species sometimes.
So you mentioned veganism. Is that something you've thought about, or would you ever stop benefiting from the suffering of animals?
Yes, that's where I strive to get to. But I'm in the process where also making sure that I'm not beating myself up and judging myself if I do decide to eat chicken or fish or something, and just working with myself, being gentle with myself and just working with the process because it is a process.
So I'm curious, I talk to a lot of vegetarians, and some of them don't really know what's going on with the dairy and egg industries. Do you know much about them?
I mean, I would not tout myself as an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I do have some awareness. Yeah.
Cool. So do you consume those products still?
I do not consume eggs, but I do eat dairy. Yes. Yeah. I was vegan for about 5 years, and my body started craving cottage cheese of all things. Yeah. So I figured I must need it.
Do you consume animal products, or?
I do. Not as much as I used to, but I still do.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about it? Do you think of the suffering of the animals when you're consuming these products? Because I feel when I did, I tried, the people in the story, I tried to kind of push it away, right?
Yeah, I don't have anything to say about that. I'm indefensible. Yeah, I like food.
Do you ever think about going back to vegan?
I do all the time. Yeah. I went to this amazing restaurant last night called Queen Planta. If you've never heard of it, phenomenal. Yeah. And when you realize how good vegan food is, or how good it can be, I could easily go back to being vegan, I think.
What do you think is more important, taste pleasure or the life of an animal?
Doesn't matter what I say, the way I live. It says it all.
Let's say like you have like a good life, right? If I just shot you today and you didn't suffer at all, would that still be bad?
Oh, it's like killing another person. Like, I get you. I do. That's
a great question.
Listen, I'm not God, right? That's my explanation of that, because now we're talking about species and how we connect and how we all are supposed to interact on this planet. Now, I don't think that me eating chicken on a Sunday, once a month when I need to for like health reasons, like to get that protein, I don't think it's terrible, right? I don't.
Kosher food is such that they don't want the animals to suffer it, so they make sure that that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought up kosher because, they're like halal slaughter. They say that it is painless, but in reality, so in kind of typical slaughter, they bolt them and that's supposed to like knock them unconscious. It doesn't work a lot of the time, and then their throats are slit and they're bled out. And for kosher, they don't stun them first, so that's the difference. So to me, that almost seems worse.
Wow.
I thought the same thing, and I wanted to eat chicken, for the protein because it has a lot of protein. Right. But then I found out, first of all, 99.9% of chickens are factory farmed, so that's, a guarantee. And they're bred to grow so fast that they just suffer all the time. Also, the meat is much more unhealthy than it was even 10 years ago because these faster growing breeds, like with greed. Yeah, so it's not healthy at all. You might think it's healthy, but could you get protein from plants?
Yeah, I mean, I also eat like a lot of like beans and tofu and stuff like that. Like, I'm more on that vibe.
In the story, the ones who walked away from Omelas, would you like to be one of the people who walked away, or would you rather be a person who stayed and kind of closed their eyes to what was going on?
Oh, I definitely have to be one of that walked away.
Do you think being vegan and not benefiting from the suffering of animals would be closer to that goal?
Oh, I mean, it definitely sounds like it. Yeah, it's a good metaphor. It's really a good metaphor.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, probably. I mean, if you're not willing, yeah, exactly. If you're not willing to place all your suffering into like one basket and you want to make change before it shows up at your doorstep, like I was saying before, then yeah, for sure.
If you could live a life where you intentionally harmed humans, intentionally harmed animals, or neither, what would you choose?
Neither.
You have that choice every day.
I thought that question was going somewhere else when you first started. I don't know why.
Love that.
I didn't know where I thought it was going,
I don't know where I thought I was going either, but I love that.
Yeah, neither. I would say neither.
I can't put my head in the sand anymore. Awesome. It's definitely the burden of knowledge.
It kind of sucks, doesn't it?
Kind of sucks. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please hit that thumbs up button. Special thanks to my morally superior patrons, Amy, Andy, Deepak, Rebecca, and Steven.